Hey there guys, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we are playing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain on the PlayStation 4. This is a long time coming. I've been anxiously awaiting this game. This is of course an impressions video, not a review. There's no way in the short amount of time I could show you everything that there is to offer about this game or to even tell you about it, because this is just the beginning of the game and I haven't played much of it, but I can give you my overall first impressions of playing it for the last hour or so. As you can see, we're in a gigantic world of Afghanistan. Well, sandbox world. We don't actually have a world of Afghanistan. That'd be like a planet or something. But anyway, there should be another gigantic section, because this game, like the Grand Theft Auto games, ironically you don't get an instruction manual, but you get a nice big map. And I think the strategy guide even comes with like a better quality one, especially I guess if you get the $34 one. But I think if you go on Amazon right now, you can probably get it for $25. So yeah, this is a different departure. Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4 kind of hinted at more of an open world, but it was still somewhat linear, especially more so with Metal Gear Solid 3. This is basically the equivalent to like the Star Wars Episode 3 storyline where like Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Well, this is where Snake becomes like the villain, Big Boss, which is the main antagonist of the first two Metal Gear games. Not Metal Gear Solid games, but Metal Gear. Those are the ones that came out on the Japanese MSX computers, and the first Metal Gear came out on the NES. Later on, when Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence in the HD collection on PS3 and Xbox 360 that had Metal Gear Solid 3, by the way, Subsistence came out on PlayStation 2. I'm talking too fast and not keeping up with myself. Go figure, but if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you should expect that by now. But anyway, they had the versions, emulated versions of the MSX versions translated, which a lot of people wanted for a long time, of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually the third game. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Metal Gear series and its chronological order, I'll give you a quick rundown of what order they go in. First, there's Metal Gear, and I'm not talking about the side stories, by the way. First of all, there's Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually the first story, which you play as this character, which in that game I believe he was called Naked Snake. His name's actually John. Metal Gear Solid Snake, or Snake or whatever, his name's David, which is actually a clone of John, the character you're playing in this game. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Anyway, there's Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero. No, I messed it up already. Alright, so there's Metal Gear Solid 3, there's Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, there's Metal Gear Solid, yeah, I said it right, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, this game, Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. Then it goes on to the other Snake, which is a clone of this character, which is Metal Gear, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, and then the final story is Metal Gear Solid 4. A lot of people probably wouldn't know this, because a lot of people gave up on the series after Metal Gear Solid 2, which, even me being a Metal Gear fan, is understandable, because early on in the game you switched characters and you didn't play as the main character you loved, and you thought that the character was dead. I think the game's been out long enough by now where I can say, spoiler, Snake didn't die. He actually survived, which you find out later in the game. The director, which unfortunately I guess now is no longer with the company, forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, Hideo Kojima, wanted you to see Snake from a third-person point of view, although I feel like the third-person perspective and the cutscenes, yada yada yada, actually make you see him from the third point of view. But they wanted you to know what it was like to see Snake from the outside and how he works and how much of a badass he is or whatever. But I'm really not spoiling anything because you play as Snake again in Metal Gear Solid 4. But anyway, with this game, it's an open world. You saw me with the binoculars. I spotted these people, very similar to Far Cry. I guess this game borrows a lot from different games, but it does it quite well and looks beautiful. You can't tell by watching this video, but the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions run at 60 frames per second. This is also available on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but there's a major graphical downgrade and it runs at 30 frames per second or lower. I don't know what they run. It was really pushing the systems. Here you have a nice first person view, and if you notice, if you get caught, there's actually this little indicator that lets you know you have a few seconds to respond before anybody's alerted, which works great. I'm trying to be stealthy right now, which isn't really benefiting me at all because I'm still getting used to the mechanics and every once in a while accidentally pushing the wrong button. But I actually think using the first person mode when you zoom in, and all you have to do, at least on the PlayStation 4 controller, is to push the R1 button while you're aiming, which you would hold the L2 button, but I'm sure it probably sounds super complicated when I'm explaining it. I do like how they adapted a lot of this stuff from Peace Walker, where you have the little context sensitive button maps where you actually can pick up things or do things depending on where you're doing. Like a button does a whole bunch of different things, but it only works like when you're prompted to do so. I made an error right there. I thought I could run up and hit the guy or knock him out, but unfortunately I'm not bulletproof. One difference in this game and also Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, which I recommend you either play or watch the 15-minute storyline. That was essentially a game demo. At the time I sort of defended it, like saying like, oh, it gives you an idea, but it was like $30 or $40. Of course the price quickly dropped down when people got wise. Unfortunately I wasn't one of the wise people, because you know I'm compulsive, especially when it comes to Metal Gear. Although I never bought portable ops or played much of it, I just didn't like playing with one analog stick, and I actually waited for Peace Walker, which is actually a really great game. A lot of people's favorite, not one of mine in the series. I like Metal Gear Solid the most for nostalgic reasons, but I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably the coolest, which this reminds me a lot of. This actually also reminds me of a mixture of Grand Theft Auto, The Witcher, for whatever reason. I guess because you have the horse, which isn't a really good comparison, but it's my channel, I can say whatever I want. But it's like a mixture of that. Reminds me a lot of Sniper Elite. Probably, we'll just say the Sniper Elite 3 game, just because it looks like the African setting or whatever. But you can use stealth or you can shoot everybody in the head. I'm gonna go for more of an action approach in this, just because I can. It's easier to get things done. Now this game kind of eases you into a lot of different things. Eventually you're going to start building your own army, and this is about an hour or so into the game. There was a pretty extensive scene. You're really not going to know what happens unless you play Ground Zeroes, but you could easily just watch a YouTube video, and I believe I recorded one myself, of the 15-minute storyline. If you actually get Ground Zeroes, there's about 2 hours worth of gameplay, because there's all this bonus stuff you can do, and you can mess around and play in the little sandbox that they have out for you. But this game offers a lot more. Because this game has the army and base building aspects of Peace Walker, where instead of killing people, you actually can, as ridiculous as it is, because this game borders on serious and just outrageous, as I guess all the Metal Gears do. This one, and Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, as short as it was, has like a lot more serious tone, which I like. And I like the 1980s movie flair that this has. It kind of has that dark action movie science fiction flair that you don't really see too often anymore, which is something that I kind of don't like in contemporary movies. Like, they just don't have that luster of like a lower budget sci-fi film. Everything's like super polished, like, because now you can have a low budget film and still have pretty decent special effects with CGI, even though it looks super glossed over, like somebody scrubbed it with petroleum jelly. Why I know what that looks like, I guess I'll keep that confidential. But anyway, yeah, so this is cool. I like how there's actually real 80s songs in this game that you'll uncover like from the radio, and you actually can take the cassettes and use them in your Walkman. Right before I died, it was playing a real song. I can't remember which one, but oh well. There's songs you can collect, and you actually have like a old, like one of the first Walkmans that are gigantic and probably suck batteries or use battery power like nobody's business, but I'm guessing it was great at the time versus listening to the radio, especially if you made your own little mixtape. I'm like talking about it retrospectively, but I don't even know if younger people even know what a mixtape is anymore, or even a mix CD. Like, everybody has MP3 players now, or maybe there's another format player that they have, or they just have iPhones and Androids. They don't even need like a separate device. Everything's all in one. So it might be a foreign concept. I don't know. I hate the fact that I'm getting older. Anyway, yeah, so the controls are really good. They're modernized. The, like, if you play Call of Duty, except for the reload buttons, is the circle button, which is kind of weird. This is also on PC, by the way. That's stirring up a lot of controversy, because apparently, I don't know, this is just what I read, apparently the PC version just has a Steam installer on it, which I think would be really bizarre if that's the case, because that's a waste of a disc, because that's a very small file. The last PC game I bought was BioShock Infinite. I tried to knock on the door to get the person's attention, obviously, and I wasn't very successful at it. I need to find a Russian translator, because trying to get information out of these people is useless, because I have shrapnel in my head, and basically I have brain damage, so I've lost the ability to know Russian. That's the game's explanation, folks, not mine. You saw a power generator right there. You actually can shut the power off, but right now I'm trying to be stealthy for a little bit. It's not going to work out. See, I'm still debating on getting them to talk, but I don't know Russian. If you play Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, like, you could talk to them, so that's why I'm doing this by accident, because I think I'm playing Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, to be honest with you. I don't know, my brain's fucked up. Who can really say? Right now he's telling me that I'm not able to speak Russian right now. Of course that'll change, but I didn't really I wandered way off topic, but I was saying, like, you have this Fulton system that actually basically launches like a balloon that hooks up to the people, and an airplane comes and extracts the soldiers, and then you can use the soldiers for your base. That's essentially what I'm getting materials for. They're just like, oh, this will be useful later, but it's really for developing your mother base, where I haven't experienced myself. Like, I've seen it like in Peace Walker, which basically this game's supposed to essentially be the mechanics of Peace Walker but enhanced. So this is like Peace Walker 2. But like Peace Walker took place in the I guess the mid 70s. I know Metal Gear Solid 3 is in the 60s. I don't know a whole lot about portable ops, but that was a genuine Metal Gear game, and I don't know why they didn't add it to the HD collection. It would have been nice, because I just can't play it on the PSP like a Metal Gear game. As much cool as Peace Walker sounded, I waited until the HD collection came out. By the way, speaking of HD collections, it kind of kills me because I imported the PS3 version, but I'm excited at the same time. They just announced a physical copy of the HD remasters of Resident Evil, the GameCube version, the HD remaster of that, and Resident Evil 0 on a physical copy for the PlayStation 4. I'm super excited, but I should stay focused and talk about this game. But, you know, it's my quirky channel. I can do what I want. And if you notice, when I walked by that gun, there was a context-sensitive prompt, use that machine gun. Of course, if I did that, that would have alerted everybody, but I've pretty much gotten rid of almost everybody in this level, so it's really not a big deal. And you also might have noticed in the beginning of the game, or in the beginning of this video, it was starting to get dark outside. Now it's nighttime, so there's a real-time light cycle, which is very subtle, which I think is really cool. Hideo Kojima apologized that this game wasn't gonna hold up to like the other next gen titles that are coming out, and I think this is one of the better looking next gen titles that came out, even though it has assets that can be scaled down the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, which sadly I think this is going to be their last AAA game. I don't know if that's a big deal or not, because I don't know how well that it runs on it. I've always been curious about how the Fox engine ran on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. There's been a few times where I was tempted to buy like a $5 version of Ground Zeroes just because I was curious. Because screenshot wise, it looks really good, but I don't know how well it runs. So, yeah, there's many ways to complete your mission. I'm very early into this game, and when you use your binoculars, you actually can you can actually put markers of your point of interest, and it goes by the alphabet. So essentially, you can pick 26 different areas of interest, which is insane to me. Can you imagine? Because you see the A and B icons floating on the screen. Could you imagine the whole alphabet like rotating everywhere you're trying to go? That would throw me off, and maybe later on I'll utilize that feature. But I mean, that's pretty crazy. But like, this is kind of still like the tutorial. I think this game, like Peace Walker, is just gonna slowly ease me into the game. And that radio is playing the song right now that I'm about to take. Look, see, it has a cassette tape. Now I rendered it useless. When I got shot the last time, I thought that maybe the music was covering like my footsteps, so I left it on. Obviously I got caught anyway, so it could have been the case and they just saw me, but I don't know if it was covering up my footsteps or not. But I'm pleased this punch I was able to take the cassette tape. I don't say please this punch very often, it's not in my vocabulary, but I'm just excited doing this video, I guess. And I mean, stupid phrases just seem to come out. Since you're on alert, I'm discovering right now that I can't grab files because they're looking for me. Why I can't grab a manila envelope while people are looking for me is beyond me, but whatever. Gotta go with the flow and wait it out. If you're used to playing Metal Gear Solid, it's gonna really throw you off because you don't have that like super detailed radar that shows the vision cones and stuff like that and tells you approximately how much time you have left before your alert status goes back to normal. Because in the original Metal Gear Solid, it was like alert caution, and then normal. I think that's what they were called. If I'm not, you can feel free to correct me in the comments. But they're just waiting to get shot. I'm not looking at the animations, but the animations are actually quite really nice. Little subtle things, like when they throw in the little tear gas grenades, they actually like rotate and spin on the floor and stuff like that. I wish I would have looked at it. And this has like the Call of Duty health system where it fades back to normal. Like early on in this game, I had to like snap one of my joints back in place. I don't know if it was just for the story or whether that's going to be part of the game, because I haven't had to do it yet. I also like how you can pick up any of the enemy's weapons. Like in Metal Gear Solid 4, you actually had to buy the weapons because it was in the future, and everything's ID tagged based on your nano machines, and you had to get Drebin points and have that dude Drebin with that monkey that they both like to drink soda or whatever, like help you out, and you pay him Drebin points and he would supply you with guns, and you could take apart the guns and put the pieces back together. And as far as I know, you can do that in this game, but you have to slowly unlock all these features. Like there's a guy that you have to get a gunsmith or whatever, based on from what I've read or heard somebody say. I've tried to not watch a lot of reviews in this game because I don't want to ruin the game for myself. This is like the Star Wars Episode 3 storyline of the Metal Gear series before you transfer, like before you rotate protagonists and you're looking for Big Boss who you're playing as now to kill or whatever. I hope that if they make a new Metal Gear game, which I'm sure they will, even though Kojima is not going to help out, I don't know if it's going to be good as the other ones. Maybe they'll surprise everybody and make a good one. I really don't know. I'm kind of worried about the future of Konami and the quality of games. I hope they get their shit together and make decent Castlevania, Silent Hill games, and Metal Gear games. But anyway, this is the Phantom Pain. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your comments or whatever you do to support this channel. And just thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are all doing well in life. Talk to you guys later, and take care. Bye.